these common objects, whether it could be, oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. So when we talk about, objects in general, okay, living weapons and all these things, these objects could be two types, static objects and dynamic objects, objects that move and create some action. Those are dynamic objects. And objects that are static, for example, this hill, the plants, which are not moving, they could be static objects. So we have to focus more around the dynamic objects. For example, say this person here who is shooting may drop this gun and take another gun. So that means the team that is building the gun and the team that is building the soldiers, they need to have a good understanding. Okay, so what type of understanding should they have? For example, this team, is building, different types of weapons, W1, W2, W3, different types of weapons. And this team is actually integrating them as part of the whole game, assume. If, W1 is working, tomorrow a new W2 they are releasing. It may work, W1 they're using, and then, this team is changing something in W2, which is breaking. So W2 is not working here. It's not working. And in future, they are releasing another weapon, which is W8, which doesn't, get supported here at all. So these type of issues may come. I have something which is already working, but now not working. They're creating something new, which is not easy for me to use because everything has changed. So these are some type of key coordination issues or key issues that may come in between two teams. Okay. Currently, I'm just discussing about the challenges. We can try to see some solution, what it could be there later. So let us understand the challenges. Okay, one is the coordination teams. Okay, because there is no proper definition of what this team will give and what this team expects. Okay, anything else? Any other challenges? Key challenges. So this is from the, let us split even the challenges. For example, from the execution side, okay, from the project execution and coordination, I have these challenges. Who else may be affected by these changes? Let's assume the members within this team. What type of challenges they may face? That's, this is across teams, okay? What are the challenges? Within the team, what are the challenges? Can someone tell? Within the team? Yeah, feel free. Say there are 10 members working on soldiers, assume, okay? So now what do you think would be the problems that these members may face? What are the challenges generally? Common problems. Okay, I will ask the other way, okay? So now, there is a department of electronics maybe. So what type of problems you generally face within the electronics department? Example, that is just an example. In terms of coordination or in terms of certain things, okay? There could be a different interface between electronics and computer science. That is department to department. You may have some challenges. Within the department, you may have some challenges. So based on that understanding, can you tell here?
Lot of communication.
Sorry?
Communication.
Okay. Communication is a common problem, but again, yeah, this is important. Okay.
All the team's members are from same origin, like, I'm sorry.
Say, for example, what about, resource changes? Someone is coming new, someone is going to outside your, going from your college or, going to another department, or someone, roles are changed, correct? So in these cases, what type of challenges do you think may be there? Let's say a new person is coming.
Whatever work he has left, suppose his role is changed, whatever work he has left, someone has to take up. So
correct.
They should understand the work he has done till now.
Yeah, understanding the work of others.
The team members should come arrive at a common understanding that they will follow certain norms or certain uniformity is there when they are coding, maybe.
Yes, exactly.
And providing sufficient comments.
Exactly. So understanding the work of others, what is existing, what is existing, what is the history of, so far what is being done, etc., etc., etc. Okay, that is one thing. Second, okay, now they have understood. Now, what other problem? Assume they understood. Now, what problem they may have?
Following up the previous work carried out.
Yeah. So when I want to follow the previous work carried out, what type of challenges I may face? Imagine, all of you are working on the same code or some same document or some same work. Considering that, what type of problems you may face?
Can I say, actually, they should understand the common goal for which they are existing, what work they are doing. They should have a thorough understanding. The newly joined person should know what exactly they are doing. Only then they will be able to travel together. Otherwise, he'll be a dead weight or he'll be pulling back the entire team.
Exactly. Yeah. So that comes from the understanding. Maybe, this understanding can be created through some ways, which we will discuss. Now, assume now that person has understood. After understanding, what problems he or she may have. Let's say, for example, the computer science department has created some code, okay, and some documentation. When the new member come, they did some training and he's able to understand. Now that member wants to change something in this code so that he can, do some better presentation to his students. Now, from this point of view, any difficulty can be there? The person understood and he wants to enhance the existing application or code that is written by another teacher, okay, so that he can give some better explanation to the students. From this point of view, do you think there could be any problem?
Accessing the data?
Assume you have access to the data. Assume you have access to the data. Accessing data is important, of course, proper permissions and other stuff. Assume you have access. Assume you have everything. Assume you have understood what the other person did. Now, you are trying to change the code. When you are trying to do that, do you think any problems you may face?
Without changing the old data, changing the old data, before they develop, we have to modify.
Correct. I agree. Let me give a clue. The code or the document that was done is too rigid, too complicated, which means to do a small change, I have to change the code in many places. Okay, so when I change the code in many places, I have to test so many functions. That could be a lot of impacts. That could be a lot of errors that would come out of this. It could break an existing functionality. All these things, problems could come, correct? That means the previous person has documented good. The previous person has explained the code good, but the code itself is very poorly designed. Why is it poorly designed? When you want to do a change, to do even a small change, you have to write 100 lines of code. You need to change, 10 different functions in order to do that single functionality. This is a poorly designed code, which is creating a lot of headaches, even though you know about the code. The effort of modification is huge. Effort is more, which means time is more, your testing time is more. You cannot release certain things very quickly to the market or to whoever is requesting for it. Is it clear what I'm trying to say? Is it clear? Are we agreeing, or is there any difference in opinion? Okay. Now, assume the person understood the idea of the code, but when the person is going through the code, he's finding very difficult. Why do you think he's finding very difficult? Okay, there is some code, okay?
Modification of the code.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Modification of the code.
Yeah, he is not able to. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Synchronization problem, sir, with all.
Okay. You are talking about tech challenges, right? I'm not talking about tech challenges at all. I'm talking at a challenge which is very fundamental. The person understood the idea of the code, understood the documentation of the code, but the person is not able to understand the code itself. He's reading the code, he's not able to understand. Why do you think that could have happened?
He might not use the proper variable names, or so what for a particular
Yeah.
variable or thing is
So which
used.
means there is no proper, proper commenting of the code. When there is a proper logic, there is no explanation of the logic before implementing the logic. Correct? I mean, only the person who coded has it in his mind and he coded it. And when someone, he or she, is trying to look at the code, they have no idea why this condition is there. They have no idea why this specific condition was included. So the person, without having this understanding, feels afraid or not confident to change the code because he or she thinks it may break the code. So understanding the code becomes very, very difficult if the previous person has not written in the right way. Considering others, it's very important. So this is another major issue which many people face. Not only them, even the same person, if he comes and sees the code 1 year after, right, he may not be able to understand. We have seen challenges, we have asked some people to change some old code and they say, sir, we don't remember, what we did. Such type of things I have seen earlier in my career. So we implemented some process to overcome these things. So is it clear what type of problems you can occur? First is the understanding. Second is the understanding is clear, but code understanding is not there. It's too difficult to change. Okay, code understanding is there, but it is too assume code understanding is there now, but it is too difficult to change. Why? The code is designed and written so poorly that I have to change 10 to 20 places in order to bring up the functionality. A small change. So much change I have to do. Big problem. In today's industry, the feature change is so fast. We cannot wait 1 month, 2 months to release a new feature if it is very simple. We should be very quick in our change. That means our code should be designed in such a way. It has to be quick. It should be very easy to change. Change just one place, test quickly, release. So we are talking about microservices architecture, those architectures. All these things are possible. And Google is releasing updates, thousands of updates every day. And at that level of scale, utilizing this automation and DevOps for releasing all these things, the code change should also be very quick. The fixing of issues should be very quick. Testing should be very quick. Without this, we cannot achieve time to market. We don't have all the time that is there. It is a very wrong notion to tell that a project runs from start of the year to end of the year. No, it doesn't. Within that particular time frame, there are so many things that happen intermediate. Suddenly, that old feature may have some issues. Suddenly, an old product may want some upgrade of a new feature. So many ad hoc requests come into play, and we need to do all these things quickly and with quality. That's the most important. So these are the two main factors: time, quality, and both are again related to cost. So these are the three things which drives the entire project management, which drives design, which drives your process, which drives your documentation, which drives everything in your project. How can I create something which can help people to easily change code? How can I do something which can help everyone to understand each other's code? How can I do what can I do so that everyone understands each other's design? So these are the primary questions we need to lay around. If we can't do this, then there is no synchronization, not tech synchronization. I am talking about mental mindset synchronization is not there among all the members. That's what it means. And dealing with a company, which may have some 200 members in a project, it will become a nightmare for anyone to project manage this project. Forget about 200 members, where there is no process, a proper thing set up, even managing 5 members will become very difficult. So this is the idea and the problems that anyone faces. So you talked about coders facing issue. Customers, what type of issues they may face? Customers, the actual, the stakeholder who is giving the requirement, they have issues like, they give a requirement, we take a long time to finish. We take 1 month to release a feature because someone is not able to understand, the code is designed poorly, etc., 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 etc. And the customer may have a very hard deadline. For example, he may want to release a new product for Deepavali. or for Christmas. He cannot change the timeline. It's hard. It's very hard. If he misses that, he may lose business. So we need to achieve by the timeline, which means your code should be really, really flexible, really, really usable, reusable. Without that, we cannot achieve all this stuff. Is the context clear so far? Any other points that you would like to add? It may help everyone. Yeah. Are we in sync? Shall I proceed? Any questions?
Maintenance of the end product.
Exactly. So this is example, new requirement. When I say maintenance, example, I get an issue. How quick I'm able to fix this issue is all maintenance. In maintenance, most of the people do this. Fix issues whenever there is some fix issues, or there is some minor, feature change, or the systems have become very old. They changed from legacy systems to new systems. Maybe they are migrating everything to cloud. So these could be some maintenance. Even maintenance becomes a problem because of these. I'm not able to understand. The code is too tough to change. Though it is a small feature, I have to change so many places. So it becomes a problem at every stage of your development cycle. A simple mindset issue with the team creates all these problems. What is a mindset? When people start coding, they don't think of others. They don't think of the customer. They don't think of their teammates. So the basic mindset of a coder or a developer should be to really, really help their teammates and to help himself. Even after 5 years, if I take the code, will I be able to understand this code? Is my code designed in such a way that someone can come up and quickly change? Or will they be struggling to do this change? This is the first mindset that as a developer that I should have. Without this mindset, the code can be written by anyone. But when you have this mindset, the coding that you do is totally different. Same functionality, but totally different. And it changes only based on the mindset, nothing else. I will show you some examples. Okay, let us see why coding standard is required. Why coding standard is required? Very simple. Communication, understanding the code by anyone, because the resource may come new, resource may leave, resource may change to new roles. At any point in time, anyone may come new to your project. They want to see your code and understand your code. That is one simple reason why we should have coding practices. Very simple. Why coding practices? If everyone has a common mindset, good enough. But bringing a common mindset is difficult. So we bring in a policy or a practice, say everyone please follow this coding practice, so that everyone writes the code in the same way, so that it is easy to understand. Is it clear what I'm trying to tell so far? Let me show you an example. Okay. Sorry, 1 minute. I just took some few examples so that I can tell. Anyway, the code I'm going to show you is a bit open that we have modified, so I think it is not sensitive. I can show you. Can you see this particular code? It's a very simple code, right? It's a simple code. There is some if else, etc., right? Very simple code. Yeah. Are you able to view my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. I don't know if
it can be made a little bit bigger, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I actually just installed this one. I like this editor. I don't know if you are interested. You can check the Source Insight editor. Forgot where things are there. Can you? Is there a zoom option in your view window? Maybe you can click on the zoom option in your view window. I think in your Zoom view window.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. I don't want to spend some time here. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I have now. Okay. Be this. Okay. You're able to see, man? Hello? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
you're able to see? Yeah, okay.
Very well.
Yeah. So you can see this is a very simple code. Okay. So they do some operation when there are, few GPU cores or, some CPU cores, and they do some action. I think this is not correct. Okay. Okay. So now, sometimes it's very difficult to understand even such a small if condition. So we need to have a clear-cut command telling why these checks are being done. Now, any person who does this really has the right mindset. They care for others. That's what it means. Okay, it's very easy not to do this. People, they feel very lazy and they don't comment. And I have no idea, what I have written, why this person has written this way. It is not always intuitive sometimes. Without commenting, it's impossible to understand. Example, simple case, right? Just hardly 4 cases. Can you see this? The commenting that has been done. Complete clarity. This is why we are doing it. That is an explanation. That is, they have created a simple table itself in the commenting. This means care. This means right mindset. And this person, anytime if he comes and sees this code, will understand. Others will really, thank him because he has really taken the effort to, make certain things understandable. Okay. Simple examples, right? Let's say, let's take another. Okay, maybe here. Okay, why these conditions? The following conditions. I've seen some people, doing comments like this. I don't know what to do. People totally misunderstand what commenting means. Okay, if no, a equal to 10, they comment. Assign 10 to a. No use in this comment. Correct? Absolutely no use in this comment. Something that is very evident in the code, we should not comment. It's waste of time. But something that requires, a real understanding of the product or some conditions, so that, you have included this condition, really requires commenting. We should know where to put what comment. Okay. So here, it's simply, no one says, loop through this and all those stuff. It says check all DPP buffers to identify a reference picture. Very clear. Okay. So here, some critical phases, they are commenting single line comment. Wherever they think they want to explain a logic, they give a comment like this. You may think, why am I discussing comment this much? Because of that first problem. People can't understand others' code. And that is the reason for all the frustration, I would say. Where is this? Okay, people, I will tell you the overall impact of that. People not able to understand has so much impact. They can't change quick. They're not confident. They're not confident on what would be the side effect. They can't fully tell, this code is 100% perfect. And because of this, it raises a lot of frustration for them. They keep doing and fixing issues, a lot of side effects. They spend a lot of time. So they affect their work-life balance. Severe issue. And they go in a spiraling round, If the manager is really understandable, he can really understand the issue of the engineer. If the manager is just task-oriented, I gave you something, did you finish or not? If the manager is like that, he's going to think he has not done it. He does not know the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is this simple comment. It's a simple comment. So more than coding practices, what we should instill on people is the right mindset to take care of their fellow developers, to take care of their customers so that they can do the right coding to help the customers to implement, to help by releasing the product quickly, by implementing the feature quickly. This is the mindset we need. Everything we do, coding standard, commenting is all around it. Is all around it. When your mindset is good, you will automatically do this. You don't need to even insist. So these coding practices, guidelines are people who don't have the right mindset. So then we need to force them. You have to do it. Then you need to police them. Are you really doing it? So I have a review board. I check, code reviews. All these things happen. Okay. So that is what is process, right? So we have people who really understand. We have people who don't understand. We have people who understand if you tell them. You have people who don't understand if you, or who don't do even if you tell them. There are so many categories of people in the project. So now how do we ensure that all these people come to a common base so that from a company point of view, I need good code quality. So you need to insist. That is why you bring in a coding guideline, you bring in a process, you bring in etc., 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 and you change and improve, keep improving the process to make it better. This is what we do. Correct, right? Is it clear what I'm trying to tell so far? Am I telling something which is already very known? I mean, if so, no, certain things we can skip. But this base of thinking as a big team, many people collaborating with each other, people coming in, going out, changing roles, manager is different, manager's mindset is different. So we have to focus on that developer, that young developer who is coming new to the project. And this developer is very important because if properly molded, this developer can become a very good engineer in the future. And he could be a very good asset for the company. So we need to help this person. So how do we do? By doing all this stuff. Is it clear what I'm saying? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let us go to another example. See here, this is another example. Okay, simple table. See, there is only two. I'm sorry, what happened? Oh. Okay, there is some 2 lines of code, but this person has taken some effort to explain what it is actually doing because the logic is not very intuitive here. Okay, so he took care to document and then to tell, oh, please do that, please do this, like that. Okay, let us see some more. So these are some of the references that you can take. Now I see here this person. Okay, you see, before he went into the logic, see here is just 2 lines of code, not intuitive to many people, because there is a lot of reason why these 2 variables are there and why this condition has been included. People can say, yeah, you under this value, these 2, you take a not assign, but why? But why? Why is it done this way? How do we know that? Because of this. This person has the right mindset. He cares. It means he cares. I'm using that term, it may be a bit harsh sometimes, but this is how I speak to my people. You care. And I really appreciate those people, I take randomly samples from code and I show to everyone. And I just say, this person has really done, he really cares for you all. So this is something that we need to do. It's very, very important to instill this mind. We cannot tell how to comment. That is very individual specific. But if the mindset is there, then they will know to what level of commenting if I do, the other person will understand. If that judgment is there to that person, then it is good. It is hard and fast rule. Some people may write tables, some people may write, in a few lines, some people may write a paragraph. It is how much he wants to help others, how much clarity he wants to give to others. This mindset we need to put into it. That's very important. I hope it is clear, right? Yeah. So if you ask me, what coding standard to follow, I would say you don't need to follow any coding standard. You can create your own coding standard. But what generally industry does is what I'm going to tell you. So for Python, industry uses a standard called PEP8. Okay, this is a very standard coding standard that everyone uses. Anyone using PEP8, it will be very visible in the code. Everyone uses similar type of variable names. Everyone uses the right function syntax. Everyone, gives the right spacings. Everyone does the right commenting. Okay. Is only commenting an issue? Can someone tell what do you feel about this statement? Let's say, I try to allocate a memory. Okay. Let's say something like this. Okay. It's been long that I coded, but okay, please excuse me. Okay, let's say I'm trying to allocate n integers, okay, in the code. For example, can someone tell me if null equal to p? What do you think about this print? Anyone? So this is a problem people might face when they are executing the code. There are two types of understanding code. Code when it is static, that means not running. That means you are trying to understand the logic, etc., etc. Second, you are trying to understand when the code is running, what type of variables it is using, what values are coming up, how it is doing, how fast is it doing. So this is a issue, a simple issue that you may face when you are running. Simple example. People think, writing print statements is simple. It's not. Can someone tell what is the problem with that code? This statement, not the code, just this statement. Any idea? Is there any issue? I'm not saying there is a problem. Is there any issue is my question. Yeah. Anyone? Okay, in your code, there could be so many memory allocations, right? So many memory allocations. Suddenly, why there is a memory alloc failed? When I say memory alloc failed, I want to know something extra. I want to know some extra information. Who allocated and how much they allocated. This is very important. Without this, I have no clue what is happening in the code. So fundamentally, I'm not sure if the syntax is right, but just if it is wrong, don't mind. Okay, so I may want to say, this is the size I am allocating here. Correct? This is a very important parameter. Why? Okay. Why? This will clearly give me some function, memalloc failed, and it will clearly say that it failed when they try to allocate 1 MB, or let's say 10 MB. So it makes a lot of sense. Oh, they try to allocate 10 MB, that's why it failed. Just by seeing the output, memory alloc failed, I have no clue what it is. It's useless statement. So when we print, coding is important. Commenting is important. The way we write the function is important. The way we print is important. Very, very important. There will be thousands of prints that will be coming out when you print. And where there are useless prints which does not give me any information, right? It adds no value. It adds no value. That's why you need a coding standard, to help people realize why it is needed. Okay, so PEP 8 is one such standard which says, okay, you write your function this way. Your name should be, should not be having different case letters. Each name should be, separated. Each individual part of the name should be separated by an underscore. This anyone can follow and understand. So I don't need to specifically go through, function name. You have to keep this. If you go through this document, you will get to know. I will paste, I will send you these links via mail. Okay. So by seeing this, you can easily understand, what they are telling. C coding standard. Okay. I generally use Linux coding style. It's the biggest, coding platform out there. And it's the biggest open source platform. And to bring all such people into one platform to make them understand together is a challenge. So Linux follows its own coding standard, which you can utilize. So I prefer, Linux coding standard. So you can see, how to follow C++. There is a Carnegie Mellon University, CMU, which has a C++ coding standard. So I have been there in Carnegie Mellon University for an architect course, and I have seen them using these particular standards. So it's a very, very good, syntax for how you should define a class, how you should define an interface, how should you name the variables. For example, here, MS means member variable, which is static. I hope, you are able to hear. Okay. So your definition should be, in capital letters. Okay. So here you can see, it is a global pointer to log something. Okay. So here you can see, what is this? It is a reference. Okay. And here, you can see this is a reference. So there are many definitions that are there which says what they are. Okay. So this is a coding standard. Shall we have a 5-minute break? I'm getting a call from office. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So meanwhile, you can tell me some feedback, ma'am, if I have to change something. Otherwise, I will proceed in the same way. Okay. Yeah. I'll be back in 5 minutes, please. Yeah. shall we continue or can we wait for some more time?
Sir, you can continue, sir. You can continue your seminar.
Yeah, sure. And is it okay? Is it helping everyone? I don't know if what I'm telling is of use or not, but I'm focusing on the most important things that are required when you talk about some standard and practices. I'm telling you about
Of
real
course, sir.
problems. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, it's understandable, and we need this much.
Okay. Yeah. Fine then, ma'am. So I'm saying, should you follow all this? You don't need to. If I ask me, okay. So if I would say, if Python, you can go ahead and then do pip8. You ask C, you go ahead. Say for example, very clear. This is how a switch has to be written. There is a space between the. Okay, there is a space, after the switch. There is a bracket. There is no space within the condition. Bracket, space, bracket, end with a close bracket. This is how they do. Example, if else, how do they do? You can see here, if space, bracket, space, bracket, within the same line, open, close bracket. Yeah, this is how it is done. So you can see in these functions, it's pretty straightforward. You can see here, if space, same bracket, close bracket. Okay, return error codes. For example, here, this is another standard which you can follow. Not everything will be there in the coding standard. Instead of saying, most people return positive numbers as a return value. No. All return values which are failing should be negative. Anything that is success is positive and 0 is completely positive. Okay, 0 means positive, negative means not positive. So you can define enumerations of all this. You can see here. Okay, so you can see what it means here. Okay, I think here, all errors. These are some states in the code. That's why it's positive. But you can see all the errors are negative. This is a standard practice. So why is it negative? It is very easy for me to write the condition, right? I don't need to individually check. I can just check, for example, wherever I'm calling, fetch peak, return. I catch it in the return. I can just say return not equal to -1, do something. Okay, can you tell me why I changed it? What is the difference between this and this? This is another simple standard. Let's see here. I think this is a pretty old code. Let me show you some other. Yeah, here. Let me write here. I told you call that API. I can check like this, right? Let's follow the same standard. Okay. Space, do, and I do something here. Okay. Correct. Is this okay or is this okay? Which one do you think is best? Anyone? Is this condition okay or this condition okay? Format is same. I just put -1 here and return here. Is there any impact? If you think there is an impact, why do you think there is an impact? Coding standards also considers one more thing. What if people typing make a typing error? Okay, let's say here. When I'm typing fast, I type like this. Instead of not equal to, I just say equal to -1. I quickly move down. Now what happened here? Will this be failing? This will not check return to -1. This will assign -1 to it. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, how do I avoid that? If I had put it this way, constant first followed by this, even if you make a typing error, it will throw you compile error because it is L value. You cannot change -1, correct? Correct, right? So coding standards also think from the point of view of typing errors. What if they make an error? So mostly people do like this, right? P not equal to null. Very easy to assign P to null if you make a typing error, correct? It will just assign null and everything will fail after that. Instead, you put null not equal to P is effective. That's why you can see here, this code, all the constants are on the left. Can you see? Coding practices. This is why coding practices are required to help you to bring a mindset, help you to have a common syntax by everyone, help you when you make a mistake in typing. So these are some of the intuitions that people had and the process they debated and then brought down as a coding standard. That's all. So I would say, no, you can bring a SRM coding standard. There is nothing to stop you. So you can bring the best of PEP8. You can take the PEP8, you can review and then see what PEP8 has not provided, and you can create your own. You can add more to it, or you can modify something better for it, so that everyone who is following coding in SRM will follow SRM's Python guidelines. Everyone following C will have SRM's C guidelines. Where did you get the guideline? You got the guideline. You referred for the guideline, the correct syntax. You referred to the guideline for some other syntax. You got the best out of it and you formed your own standard. Every company has their own coding standard. So they expect all their members to follow their own coding standard for consistency. So similar to that, SRM can have their own coding standard. But the idea of why you need to have the coding standard is important. And when you design some standard, you should keep in mind that people may make mistake in typing. People may make mistake in this. So based on that, we should consider the policy for the coding standards. That is more important. Okay, say for example, I may have, double line conditions. So how do I write double line conditions? You can make it a standard. Can you see here how people have done here? Let me show. Okay, checking the function in the same line. If there is a big function, you break down, don't write like this, making it too long. So you can define a standard to break and write into separate, and align all these arguments in the same line. Okay, so these could be some of the guidelines that you can have. Let me show you some multiple conditions if it is there. You can see very clear the sprint. Pick value is this value is this value is this, clearly separating a group of prints, and then they are printing it out. So the sprint gives really some meaning. There could be some people who have not, properly done this. Okay, see the prints. The prints are very clear. There is no confusion. You will see most people printing like this. Okay, %D, %U, %F. I cannot remember what each of those values are. Very difficult for me. So please help the person who is debugging or trying to understand execution outputs by giving some additional labels to them. Okay, so these are some of the guidelines that you can bring in. Okay, yeah. So I'm trying to see some multiple conditions. Yeah, you can see here. Okay, this is a multiple condition, right? You can see all multiple conditions are brought into the same line. Yeah, two conditions here. So and this here, I don't even prefer this. I prefer like this. If some condition, n equal to something, some variable, gap, and if at all there is multiple condition, you have to check, bring it down, intent. I think here the intent is more. I think you should have intents as 3, mostly. So or some condition, and some condition. This makes the code look neat. And within this, you can have again, multiple conditions. If it is small, make it in single line. If not, break it into separate lines. Don't create, a big line syntax. It's not good. Okay, function arguments. You can have the function arguments like this. Function, pass the first argument, argument 1, pass the next argument 2, argument 3. It's more clean. If it is just 3 arguments, same line is okay. If there are more, bring it down. If the variable names are big, bring it down. Okay, so that's more important. Particularly, the people have very poor way of, writing variable names. Can you see the variable name here? Very clear. No I, no J, no K. We have no clue what those variables are. Everyone uses the same name. It should be very clean. Number of picks missing. So this is a standard that some team in LGSI is using, or somewhere they are using. Okay, your company could have defined a standard. No, you should always write number of picks missing. No single case, double case character. You can also say, prefix with the data type of this. I can say, I32, like that. So it is up to you, which you think is best for your team or your company or your college, you can keep it. There is no hard and fast rules. If you think this is good for people, you can always keep. You can check how things are working. If not, you can always improve. Okay, so I would suggest you create your own standard for SRM, because you may not find everything that is there in one coding standard. So you can refer to different coding standard and define your own coding standard. Referring to this is pretty easy. There is nothing special here to discuss. But the most important thing is why you have to do this. That is most important. Okay, so think about all these things and you can create your own documentation telling SRM, C guidelines, SRM C++ guidelines, SRM Python guidelines. Okay, so when it comes to C++, you can also say, or OAD, how do I define a class? How do I define variables of an interface? How do I define variables of a member function, member variable? Okay, so all these things you can define very clearly. And this, everyone in your college across departments should follow it. That is most important. If they have this mindset, that is enough. When they come to the company will have their own coding standard. Let them follow it. As long as they have the mindset, they can easily switch to any other coding standard and stick to it. Sometimes you cannot always follow coding standard. Why? Some of the open sources, they don't follow standards. Then, the majority of their code will be without standard. You cannot write few functions with standard. No. So there, the recommendation is follow the same guidelines that is there as part of that source code. But when you're building something new, then you ensure you follow your coding standard. So there is no hard and fast rule. It is debatable. You think which is best option and accordingly say, here you don't use, here you use. And you can define your own policies for that. Okay, so that is what I would recommend. If all the members, across the college come together and then you define, I think this coding standard is good. This will take care of everything. Why is that you need to have like this? See here, why I need to prefix with I? Yeah, I don't need to scroll up all the way up to see, this is what, oh, this is, for example, if I just don't give this rough picture, what is rough picture? I have no idea what it is. Okay, so scroll up, all the way scroll up. Oh, rough picture is what? Where is the rough picture? Rough picture, oh, it's a pointer to a DPP, constant DPP pointer. Okay, fine. But if I have some prefix here, oh, this one is nothing but a pointer to some structure. So generally, I think this guy is following different standard. So I would prefer like this. So this is nothing but a pointer to a structure. Pointer to a structure. What is a variable name? This is a variable name. So I don't need to scroll up to know the data type. I can see here itself what is the data type. It helps me to understand better. Why? Particularly when I do some typecasting and other stuff, having an idea directly in the code is the best one. Okay. Is it clear what I'm trying to say? Any doubts? I mean, in the perspectives that I'm talking here? Any confusion?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is, with respect to the coding practice. So I'll share the links of the coding now. I don't want to discuss about coding. It is pretty straightforward, but take away the mindset part of it and you can implement the coding standard as part of your organization. Okay. That is what is the best you can do for everyone to come into a common guideline. And let us go to some quick aspects so that, I can cover some aspects of this. Why object-oriented? I want to talk about this. Okay, so I will soon come to you to say why we are discussing this topic. This is also coming something in communication. Okay, so first of all, before that, I want to say why OOP? Anyone? Why object-oriented programming language? Any idea? Ma'am, how long I can extend maximum, ma'am, since we took some extra time in the beginning?
Sir, I think you can take till 3:45 because many faculties, they will have college bus around 4 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, sure. So why OOP? Any idea? Can we quickly discuss so that we can move forward faster? Why do we need object-oriented programming? Because we have anyway C language. Why they created again, a separate C++ and then, they brought this, telling it supports OOP. Why?
To increase reusability, flexibility.
This is a very fundamental feature of OOP. In simple terms, how do I tell that? Now we saw that coding practices is just a need to bring a common mindset, right? So that's a simple term. Common mindset for people to help each other. That is a fundamental part. So that I understand the code better. I also, able to change the code better, change easier. That is the purpose. For that, I got the standard. Similarly, OOP, what is the fundamental part? Why I got this? Of course, use, brings flexibility, maintainability, etc., etc. If you write the code in the right way, utilizing the OOP principles. But why? Why? Why a new language with OOP? Whether it is Java, or Python, or C++. In simple terms, our mind is more adapted and it can understand better real life. I know how to communicate to other person. I know how to communicate with how to interact with a non-living thing. Everything in the world is objects. Nothing is without objects. I can treat a living entity as an object. I can treat a non-living entity as an object. This entity has some properties. That entity has some properties. This has some dynamic function. That has some dynamic function. So everything is object. So I ask something to the object. That object gives me back. That object asks some other object. That object gives back. So this is how the interaction in our real life. So when the programming language deviates from this, disconnecting us from the way that we interact with the real life, to be different in the programming language, we have difficulties. But moment I make real life interaction and the object-oriented and the software coding style close to real life, then it becomes more easy for me to understand, visualize, and write it better. That is why we need OOP. Bring software coding close to real life interactions. That is a fundamental aspect of it. So for that, we have so many. Okay, so we already saw this, right? Development and design problems. You already told me, so I'm not going to talk more around this, but you can see change is going to be constant. Why change is constant? Your customer will always keep on giving you requirements, correct? Change can occur because you have a lot of issues that you have. So change is constant. Can you see the dependency? Your problems will be there if your code is very poorly designed. If you have the design like this, even for one small feature, you have to touch, 10 different functions or 3 modules, 4 modules like that. You cannot have a design like this. You should avoid such designs. That is why design principles, OOAD, all are very important. Okay, it is not reusable. I prepared something. Someone wants to use my code. I'm not able to code. It is so rigid, not able to do. Because I have a so complex code, I have no clue when I change the code. I leave some dependencies and I create defects. So this is the beauty of software industry. I pay them to code. The company pays them to code. The member takes it careless, writes a poor design. He injects a code. Company pays him to fix the code. It goes like this. So the cost of your quality is high. If you don't design properly, if you don't have a properly thought through system design or a design, I would say. If not, it is too difficult. So that is why, the defects are all because of, not properly designed, no proper mindset in coding. All these things are the resultant defects of this. And finally, if you have a system like this, how will you test? The testing will be a nightmare. So the coding should be in such a way that testing is also pretty easy. Unit testing should be easy. If unit testing is very tough, it means your code is very tough. Your code is not proper. So unit testing, integration testing, system testing, all should be very easy and it should be doable. Without that, we don't have anything. Okay. Second, of course, the complexity of your problem and everything. So ultimately, actually, I'm not going to discuss everything in this, but when you talk about design, you should be reusable. It should be extendable. Okay, easily add new functions to create, new modes or new, extra parameters within the code, which is easy to add functionality. It should be easy to change. I may want to make it extendable, but it is not flexible for change. What is the use? So once you make it flexible to change, you can easily make it to be extendable. You can easily make it to be reused. And once you have this, it will be testable. And if you have the right coding practices, then it will be understandable. Without that, no. Even design becomes complex if you don't design properly. You cannot understand the design. If it is poorly designed, it will be like this only. No one can understand this code. And this is a real example from some code. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is some very important statement which drives the entire software development process. Who all will you consider while doing design, development, and review? This we already discussed. Anyone to answer? Who will be the first one you will be considering when you design or develop or code?
End users.
The end user. And another most important person? My team.
The testing persons.
No. Those are all secondary. First is my teammate. Second is my customer. If I write the proper design, if I write the proper code, why am I have to think my teammate? Because someone else may take my code. It should be easy for the person to understand. It should be easy for my teammate to change my code. It should be easy for my teammate to be making it extendable. That means my design should first focus on that. If this happens, customer is automatically taken care. But if you focus only on customer, it is going to be struggling for everyone. So the moment you have teammate in your mind, the rest is automatic. It's a byproduct to make your customer happy automatically. So design should be flexible so that someone can easily change. Someone can easily reuse. Someone can quickly develop. Okay, someone can understand and do things. So that is the most important point. So OID is about writing great software. Good. When the customer is satisfied, when it is working and keeps working. Let's say I run a functionality for 10 minutes, it works. I run a functionality for 1 hour, it fails. I run a functionality for 24 hours, it fails terribly. Example, I'm writing a software for a set-top box for a cable company. They run that box for 24/7, continuous for days. If your software is not good, finished. Okay, it will stop. There is memory leak, it will stop after a few hours. If it is not properly handled, it will crash after 1 hour. So that set-top box will stop. No one will get signal, and all the homes connected to that set-top box will stop. So it should work. It should keep working. It should be more reliable, continuous, and it can be upgraded easily, because upgraded easily is related to time to market. Okay, he wants quick updates. He wants to change quick. And you should be focusing on your teammate, because the program is happy when he can reuse other codes easily. When the code that he wants to change is more flexible. When the code that he wants to change is more understandable. And when the code that he changed is easily testable. For doing a small change, if I check 10 classes and 10 functions, no use. But if I do a change and it is enough for me to check that function, it is the best coding that I can do. Okay, so this should drive your thinking. These points should drive your thinking to see which design can help this. And when you start thinking about the design and then change that design, at one point, you would have ended up with a solution satisfying all these things. And that solution will already be there. And someone would have documented it in the name of design patterns. Okay, so you don't need to see design pattern. Design patterns are documentation of a standard solution for a problem that someone has already solved. That's all is design pattern. Observer pattern, strategy pattern. Yeah, all these things are good to hear, but you don't need to know design patterns. If you have the right mindset to achieve all this, and if you alter your design in such a way that you can achieve this, you yourself would have ended up with a solution which is matching with some design pattern out there. So you don't need to study design pattern. We need to study closely the fundamental principles of object-oriented paradigm and the mindset to achieve the points that we have listed over here. So this automatically makes it maintainable also. All these 4 makes it easily maintainable. Is it clear what I'm trying to say? Is it making sense? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is why I need OAD to take software design. That's more important. Design and development should be more close to real life. It is inspired by everything we encounter in real life. We cannot think outside objects when you are interacting in real life. If software design is like that, it becomes very easy. It's very super simple and it's very intuitive. You can make beautiful designs and your code will be really good. Example. What are this? I go to a restaurant. You can see everything as objects, right? You can see each one of them as an object, okay? A living object. And this object has her own responsibility. She is supposed to take the order, deliver the bill to the cook, deliver the order to the cook. She gets the order, she goes. She does not care what these people order and how the cook really cooks it. Her responsibility is very clear. take order, deliver order, give the order, get the order from the cook and give it. That's all is our responsibility. What is the responsibility of this person? He just, records the bill and he accepts payment. This person does not care about how the cook is cooking, what is the work of this person, what they are ordering. As long as they order, she will do the bill and she will give. This is called single responsibility principle in OOAD, SRP. If you define objects which does one thing at a time and that thing properly, then that object is good. If a particular object, so when you say object, what do you mean by in programming? You have a class, you have an object, and all those things are executing, right? So that particular class should have a single responsibility, not too many things. You write a function, don't write a 2000 line code, absolutely nightmare. It should do one thing properly. Few lines of code, good. Unless you're taking an open source, which you are using, that's fine. But when you're writing a code, make it as small as possible, break it into individual functional blocks so that it becomes very easy to maintain, test, and integrate. Okay, single responsibility principle is very important. So here you can say it's a beautiful sequence, of operations between objects. So now you can think this as one module, or this as one software object, this is another software object. The way that you are interacting with real life, you can easily interact with other objects. There is only one way to interact with objects in C++, right? For example, call the function of another object from another object. But there are principles in OAD which tells what is the way you code. This calling becomes easy. Your code change will become minimal. How to do that? That is what is the principles of OAD. Okay. So these are the 4 pillars of abstraction, right? You can see abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. What does it mean? If you go and ask any of the students, they will not be able to tell the difference between these. Yeah, people will tell encapsulation, combine code and object together. No, that is not what it means. It is a definition. But what it really means when you compare it with real life, what is happening in the real life, what nature has given us, and how this principle is trying to emulate nature is what we need to understand. Let's go ahead. So what is anyone's opinion on this? What is the perspective? Let us try to finish this in another 10 minutes. Then I would like to go to the software development because some members asked about software development, evaluation, and all those stuff. Okay, yeah. If we can quickly check, then it will be better. Anyone? What do you feel when you see this one? What is its purpose? What is its purpose? What other things you see from this? Yeah, quickly. It's a simple question, but it has a lot of meaning.
Details about the battery.
Okay.
It's available.
Okay.
The specifications are available.
Specification. So when you say specification, here, what do you see is a specification, ma'am?
The AA, AA,
okay,
the
AA.
ratings.
So when you say AA, what AA defines? What are the main specifications it defines? Of course, the voltage, but apart from that, what are the physical specifications it defines?
Not much idea, sir. There is positive, negative we can see.
Yeah. Can we say
the power, the size?
Can we say just hold on.
Lithium battery.
Yeah, no, I'm saying what is most important for the user? For me, the most important is what is the length of this battery, right?
Size, yeah. It should fit my requirement.
Yeah. What is the diameter of this battery? Correct?
Yeah.
Whether the height here is all correct. This is most important. What do you call them? This is called an interface. All I care is the interface. I don't care what is inside this. As long as my clock requires a AA battery, as long as I can bring a AA battery and insert in my clock, it will work. Correct? That's all I care.
Yeah, of course.
I care about the physical properties of the battery, but I don't care about the inner working of the battery. Why? Let's see the next one. Can you see these 3 people? What are the relations between all these 3? What is the relation between all these 3? You imagine from the manufacturer of this guy, the manufacturer of battery, and the person who is going to use this. Can you understand the relationship between them? Can you tell me what is the beauty about this design?
The manufacturer and the manufacturer of the clock and the battery, they should follow the uniform standards.
Correct.
so
Yeah.
that the battery can fit in
So-
the clock and it will be
Yeah.
useful by the user.
Exactly. So all they care is about is the interface. Okay.
Yeah.
This and this should follow AA interface. Okay. Now, should this battery manufacturer care about how the clock is manufactured?
Yes.
Should they?
He should know the standard.
No, no. My battery I can use anywhere. Do I
Yeah.
need to bother about
No,
how?
I don't need.
Yeah. How is the internal working of this? What is the circuitry of this? I don't need to bother. Similarly, this manufacturer should not bother about how this internal working of this battery happens. They should not care.
Yes.
For them, it is they just need to focus on them. As long as they define a common standard, it is a commonly communicated globally. I will follow AA standard means globally everyone understands this should be AA. As long as
Yes.
everyone follows the same standard, it is easily pluggable. If this manufacturer did not follow properly AA, then this battery may not fit here. Correct? So this fellow is at loss. Correct, right? Similarly, the person who is buying this does not need to care how they have manufactured all this. All they need is only the features and the battery to run the, that's all. How long the battery will run, that's all they may care. And the cost they may care. But they have no idea or care about how this is implemented internally. Correct, right? So this is what is called clear decoupling. I don't need to care what other manufacturer is doing. You can think this as a team. This is team 1, team 2, team 3. Team 1 should not worry about what team 2 is internally, how they are implementing internally. Team 1, how they are implementing internally. Team 3, how they are implementing internally. No one should bother. Clear decoupling. They should only bother about how do I call you interface? How do I call you interface? How do I call you interface? Is it clear? Is the idea clear so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
This is very important idea to think about software design. So when you create an object like this, the internal implementation of this object is immaterial for a battery object. The battery object's internal implementation is immaterial to a clock object. Clear decoupling. So what I change in this particular one will not affect a battery. What I change in a battery will not affect the clock. So that's how the design has to be. That's why you need an object. That's why you need a class. Okay. So now you can see, I don't need to bother about all this internal circuitry. I don't need to bother about all this working in between them, right? In real life, user need not worry about how an object is made or what it contains for using it. All I want to know is how to use that object. In software terms, how to call the functions in the object. That's all. So if I write an object, say for example here, if I write an object, you may have function 1 in this class, function 2 in this class, function 3 in this class. How is it internally implemented? I don't need to care. Right? I don't need to care. I may just give one interface to the external world. Okay. I will call this function. This function will internally call all other functions. Is it clear? To make the operation, I can make all these functions private. So this private functions will only be accessed in this function, and the gateway to access this class is only through this function. This is how you hide things. This is how you make others forget about how you do to ignore about the internal implementation. Is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. So this is the idea which every manufacturer follows. They can easily build independent components because no one cares about the internal implementation, and all they care is the interface to connect with other objects. That's all matters. Nothing else matters. Is it clear what I'm saying? So I can bring in all these components into a mobile or to some other mobile. It is very easy for me. In real life developer, one component need not worry about complete system. How the component will be used in a complete system is what we don't need to. It is easy to understand, right? As long as we focus on the interface. To use some other object, all I need to know is what are the APIs of the other object, how to call them. That's all. I don't need to bother about the internal implementation, right? Yeah. So now what do you see? Okay, anyway, I think the animation is not working. So what is the difference here? What is the similarity you find here? All are delivering the same function, correct? All are delivering the same function, but what is different? The interface is same. All are AA batteries. What is different?
The color, the manufacturer's name, the branding.
Correct. Maybe
That's
I can
all. But
say
they are
performance.
yeah.
I can say performance. Maybe, this is delivering the battery for a long time. Correct. Maybe, cost is different because of performance. More performance, more cost. So though the performance is different, all deliver the same functionality. So how can you imagine as a software component? I may have a sort algorithm 1. I may have another sort algorithm 2, sort algorithm 3. If all these classes have the same interface to call the sort API, I can write a very efficient sort API here. Okay. And if someone let's say the clock. Now the clock wants to use an efficient battery. I can just remove this battery and include this battery. Is it clear what I'm saying? In the same way, another software component which wants to use sort may be using the sort function. Now it is very easy for me to disconnect this sort and connect to this sort because all their interfaces are same. Is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yeah. So that's how we have to design. The software component should be easily disconnected and connected, not just during the static time, even while you are dynamically executing the code. That is the key point. The polymorphism or this object, whatever we are discussing, can all happen in real time. Maybe in our time, we are switching off the clock, removing the battery, adding it. But in software, everything is running in the code. I can dynamically disconnect a sort algorithm, add a new efficient sort algorithm, everything dynamically, right? So for that, our thinking should be all about interface and not about internal implementation of another object. So your design should be like that, right? Okay, and see, if this sort algorithm is good, I can easily connect and I can throw away this code also. It's no more use. Okay, like how a battery is thrown away when it is of not use. Remove the battery and connect another battery with the same interface. Rest of those works fine. Correct, right? Yeah. So you can see one battery, so many utilities. Consider this as one sort API or some AI algorithm, okay, which is commonly written in an efficient way, and an interface is provided. I can connect this algorithm anywhere I want. This is called reusability. This is reusability. Reusability. And what is this one? I can, if I take this one, I can either enhance the performance of the algorithm by enhancing it, or I can easily replace with another component. Correct? Yeah. I can add one more component. This you can call it as extendability or easy replaceability. Okay, it's just jargons of terms. We don't need to worry about jargons. We can only think about how we can do it. So once we program everything based on interface, programming becomes so easy, so nice. Okay, it's more enjoyable. Okay, so now okay, I think I want to skip all these things. Okay, in real life, if you have one blueprint, will you construct only one house? Is it required to construct only one house from one blueprint?
No, not needed.
No, right?
It's like a template.
Correct, right? It's a template. I can create hundreds of them. Similarly, from a structure, I can create hundreds of object instances, right? So your structure or a class is a template from which I can create n number of instances. So in real life, we think about structure, build a prototype before building the actual instance. Same way. Okay. Oh, okay. I think. Okay. Yeah. I think you take it. The same way in software, you create a class template, and using the class template, you create different object instances. Is it clear what I'm saying? Yeah. And now, what is your perspective here? Again, I'm going to show this repeatedly so that you have a clear perspective of design and its advantages. What is the perspective? You see this one, you see this one. What is the perspective? Do you think the lens manufacturer need to worry about the hood manufacturing? Or the hood manufacturer should worry about lens manufacturing? No, right? The internal details is immaterial to the hood. The hood's internal details is immaterial to lens. Because of that, I can replace a new lens with another lens. Because of what? Can someone tell me what is the most important part of this diagram? What is the most important part of this diagram?
The lens.
Yeah, lens. But among that, there is one more most important. Okay. What is the most important? If you see, the thing that is making this design good is this portion. What is this portion? This connecting portion is the most important in this entire design. This is the interface. As long as this interface and the lens interface are compliant, you can easily connect any lens to this one. Similar to AA battery interface, here this is the lens interface. Is it clear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So because of that, what is happening? I can have this lens, and if all the other interfaces are there, I can maybe connect this one, or I can get another manufacturer like this and I can connect easily there. It doesn't stop me at all, because see here, battery interface is same. I can have Nikon battery or I can have Canon battery, the same thing. Nothing is stopping as long as my interface is same. I can always have a flexibility to choose a better algorithm when my interface is there. I can throw away Nikon battery, get a Canon battery, asking for the same interface. I can insert into my camera, I can work. Correct? So in the same way, you can see here, lens. I have only one hood. I can have hundreds of lenses. Why? All the interfaces, all the connecting or calling interfaces. Here, connecting interface in software, calling interfaces is all same, compliant to this. So it is not necessary that I have to use only Canon lens. I can use Zeiss lens, I can use Sigma lens, I can use Nikon lens, as long as it is compliant to this interface. That is why interface is so powerful in design, and everything in object-oriented programming is around interfaces. Is it clear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, let us see a simple, I think we don't have time for this. So anyway, no, that is a standard class template. I can create n number of instances from the class, right? Okay, so anyway, now you can think of how to write a one single class, parrot class, and create this many different instances from that. You can think of that. How will you write a code for that? Okay. So I just want to straight go to one picture. Yeah, this one. This is a C++ concept, right? Exact, relation with real life. Okay, so you can see here, inheritance, class 1 or object 1, object 2, object 3 inherits from both. So some properties from here can be control to be over here. Plus this one has its own unique properties. Some are derived, some are unique. Okay, so that's what inheritance. And why do you have, okay, inheritance is fine. What is constructor? Can someone tell me what's a constructor and how is it related to birth? In birth, this baby has some characteristics. Okay, probably its height, weight, its color, eye color, everything, the character, everything is set at the time of birth. Okay, in the same time, what is the birth in programming language? What is birth in programming language? Anyone? Memory allocation is called birth. Once a memory is allocated in memory, in your system, in RAM, it means the objects has got birth. Now this memory is having junk value. Instead of having junk value, like how the predefined characters are set in this, you can set predefined values in this particular memory, which starts with the standard values. That is what is called constructor. And you know already that constructor immediately is automatically called by the system once the memory is immediately created. No other function can be called in between. Constructor is an automatically invoked function, and you can set whatever you want to set into this variable. That is why you have a concept of constructor. Again, similar to real life. How a baby is getting the predefined set character on birth, the memory allocation can also have predefined values with the help of a constructor. Similarly, death, you have a destructor. Why you need a destructor? In our case, if in constructor you are creating some memory, at the time of death, this is automatically called, and the memory can be deallocated here. Okay, is it clear? So that is why you need to have a destructor. In between, we are like this. Okay, constructor, inheritance, destructor, right. In between, you can see, how our life is changing. And at each stage, we have different functionality. This is what is called polymorphism. Same function, exhibiting different, same class or object different, exhibiting different functionalities. Same function, exhibiting different functionalities at different point in time is called a polymorphism. Okay, this is how things go in our real life. Now, how do you equate this to software? You can see, can you see this one? Why suddenly I went to a screw to show polymorphism? This is one person. Assume this is one person, that person, me. I exhibit different functionalities at different point in time. Okay. What is the advantage of this design? Anyone? What is the advantage of this design? We have another 15 minutes. I think we should close quick, I think. What is the advantage of this design? Anyone? So boring.
It can be multi-purpose.
Yeah.
Is it, sir?
Yeah. So you don't need to have physical screws separately, right? Different screws I don't need to have, correct? I have one handle, but I can connect with any head that I want, correct? I can remove this component like the battery. I remove from the alarm clock, add another AA battery. The same way I can remove this head, I can add a new head. I remove this head, I can add a new head. And why do you think this is possible? Why do you think this is possible? Anyone? Because of the common interface. That's again the same solution. Because this interface and this interface are compliant, I can easily remove and add any interface. So now you can think it as a sort algorithm 1, sort algorithm 2, sort algorithm 3, 4, 5. What happened? This is a module that is trying to use this sort algorithm. So I can disconnect one sort algorithm and connect any sort algorithm I want dynamically as well as programmatically. True polymorphism in C++ or in any programming language. True polymorphism. You're able to hear me? Looks like the internet is...
We can able to hear, sir.
Okay, this is true polymorphism. So your software component should take care of this. So you can check, how to implement. We may not be able to discuss in such a short session. So, but the idea is what I'm trying to give. You can see here. Why this interface has been brought in. Why this interface is so important. You can see all that matters is only the interface. All the rest of the details are hidden internally. It doesn't matter. For a person to use, all it needs is an abstraction. The abstraction of the complex thing is abstraction, and hiding all the inner workings is called the encapsulation. Very simple. Abstraction means hide the unnecessary data from the user. Okay. And the user only needs required functionality, the output according to the requirements. So you simply abstract to the user. They don't need to worry about it. And hide all the inner working inside the class. You don't need to expose the code and all other stuff. Okay. You can see abstraction. The mouth is an abstraction. The nose is an abstraction for a complex working internally. Right? Again, you can see the abstraction here. I will show you the abstraction. Best abstraction, I will show you diagram. This is the best example of an abstraction. I don't care how the internal gear shifting works. All I need to is to change the gear to 1, 2, or 3 or put it to manual. The rest of the internal working is all internal. So that's why I encapsulated everything, all the complex operations internally. To do what? Whoever is the user, I want to make the interface simple to use me. That is my goal. Whether it is a software developer, I want the software developer goal is to provide a simple interface to the outside module so that with one simple function call, I can achieve all these things. And the person who is calling me need not worry about all this. So you please encapsulate. And to do encapsulation, you should also have an abstraction. They go hand in hand. Okay, so that's what I'm saying here. You can see here, I just need a simple button to click. I don't need to work, how the gear is, how the motors are moving in the lens, how the light is reflected, all those things I don't care. All I care is an abstraction. I need an on-off button, I need a flash button, I need an autofocus, that's all. So abstraction solves the problem in the design side. Why? I'm trying to make the design very simple to people. And encapsulation is the implementation. And abstraction is achieved through encapsulation. Without hiding this complex detail, I cannot achieve abstraction. So you can see here, abstraction solves the problem at the design side and encapsulation solves the problem at the implementation. Is it clear? Is it confusing? Is it confusing? Is it clear? Any doubts? So I hope these diagrams help you to really understand what is OOP. So this is abstraction, right? I mean, today we are able to write a simple language, A is equal to 10. Ultimately, it is moving some electron in the lowest level, right? It is moving, changing some state of an atom somewhere, which is able to do this stuff. So we have been abstracted. And today we are able to have so simple way in order to do something at a very low level. So this abstraction is what we are trying to achieve in the design of software system. So this is what, is a key takeaway. So abstraction simplifies things, makes life easier. For whom? For my fellow developers, to make things change easier, to connect easier, to change dynamically easier. Everything, is through abstraction. Okay. So I hope that dynamic polymorphism is clear. If you understand what dynamic polymorphism is, you can understand all properties, all design patterns and everything simply. Very easy. Okay. So this property of interface and common interface, everyone should understand. Is it clear so far? So now,
Yes, sir.
I would suggest you to, I think we don't have time for other things. So let us go directly to some design that I suggest you to use. Please use star UML. Is there any exposure to star UML in the university? I mean, in SRM? I suggest using star UML. Star UML is an open source UML representation. All design are represented with the UML language, modeling language. So it's very simple, open source. Start, before coding, please ask your members to design using star UML, object-oriented design using star UML. If they know UML 2.0, they can easily code it over here. Okay, and it is very straightforward to use. Unfortunately, I don't have time to explain more. Maybe, if at all we have any session later, we will try to explain more on this particular design. But I think you can refer to star UML in order to represent what we just discussed, utilizing class, object, interfaces, constructors, etc. in the design way. Okay. And I will share few documents which talks about what is UML 2.0, how to really document design, and how to think about design. So I will share you a few documents that I got referred from Carnegie Mellon University when I was there for the software architect. So I will share you that particular resource to you. So you can have a check about those and you can derive some of your understandings from there, and you can create your own guidelines for design based on that. Is it clear so far? Okay, now shall I go last 7 minutes? Let us finish the project management part. I'm very sorry that we are going so fast because there are too many topics in this small session.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, what happened? Okay. So I would like to talk, some simple thing for your project management. So some of the comments was they want to know project management, and for project management, I would ask you to even to manage your operations in the college and everything, you can follow Agile and nothing more is required. Then Agile, please follow Scrum. This is the best, and every industry and all projects are following this. You don't need to really understand more than this, I think, because this internally brings in everything together. What are the tools that we use for our internal collaboration? We use Atlassian Confluence. This is where we maintain all our documents, communication and everything. So I think I can show at a very high level. But I think it's a bit sensitive. So so you can use Atlassian Collab. You can check what it means. It's a very flexible web-based collaboration system, which is very, very easy to use, and documentation are super easy in that. And to track the project and to do Agile and Scrum, we use Jira. I think there are some open source Jiras which you can use in order to plan your sprints and plan your tasks. I don't know if I'll be able to do sprint and task, but I would like to share you this video. I don't know if anyone has seen this video before. If you have seen, you would know it. I closed it. Okay. This video. Okay, so I think I will share you this link also. Still, I don't know if I can update to the chat. This chat, yeah, this video. Kindly have a check. This is just a 10-minute video, but very powerful about how Scrum operates. Scrum, I would say, Scrum in simple terms, I would like to say and close. You please imagine yourself, okay, like there are 5 friends, okay, or 5 different, family are trying to come to one temple, okay. They all have to reach the same temple, okay, or some place, where you want to go, or the same, picnic spot example. Okay, they all want to go. And, the road is not straight and they're all driving in night. Now, what do? What is the best way here to drive at night? Simple thing is, you need to have a light, right? I may use some simple terms, but it has some meaning. So let me tell you, you need to have a light. But can you tell me how far this light is going to help you? Anyone? The light is not going to give you visibility till the end, right? Correct, right? You may not see the entire road ahead in front. There could be a lot of deviations, turnings before you reach the final destination. Is it clear? This is a real life situation, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is exactly the project. We know where we want to go here, and we start here. We have no idea. So what we do, we move. Assume the light, gives a light for 20 meters, for example. So till 20 meters I move, then I get visibility to the next 20 meters, and I accordingly course correct my car to turn, right? I again get a visibility to the next portion, I course correct to turn. So like whenever I keep on getting visibility, I keep on course correcting so that I reach my destination properly. This is exactly Scrum. Scrum is divided into visibility areas. This is the entire timeline where you want to achieve. I split this into small visibility sections. Like this is the area till which you have your car light. That's all. So mostly this duration in project is 2 weeks. And there is a jargon given to it called sprint. That's all. So how, the car is driving for the first, let's say 20 meters. Here we are driving for 2 weeks. We develop whatever we wanted to develop, and we have a review here. And what we do, what is the review equivalent here? I get the visibility of next, what has happened. Okay. So in the review, I will say how things went. What were the issues? Is there any blocks? So based on all this analysis, I add new tasks and I course correct here to achieve the next set of tasks in the next 2 weeks. Again, I do a review. Again, I do a review. Again, I do a review. Okay. But do you think 2 weeks end, if I do a review, it's a problem, right? It is too long, even 2 weeks. So what we do, this entire visibility area is again split into small portions, daily basis. Okay, in the daily morning, we review. Daily morning, there is a review, and that is a jargon, and the name given is daily Scrum. Okay, daily Scrum is something simple. All of the people stand up. It's called a stand-up meeting. Everyone stands up, and each one says, no, this is what I have done yesterday. This is what I'm doing now. These are the problems I'm facing. I need your support. He may ask to the team members face to face. Okay, he may tell, this is the block I have. Or he may say, I'm ready with the code. Can someone help me to review the code? Okay, he may say, I'm ready with the code. Can someone help me to test the code? So this is the finer, reviews, daily reviews. And at the end, you reach a 2-week review. In the 2-week review, you do a detailed review, understand what are the good things that happened in the project, what all we achieved, what didn't go well, what didn't go well, and what is a retrospective. This is called retrospective. Simple. Retrospective is what went well, what all we achieved, what didn't go well, and what to do. Okay, so this is what happens at the end of every 2 weeks. And based on that understanding, we course correct, do the next one, course correct, do the next one, course correct, do the next one. So where do you document all this? Where do I maintain, so the tasks are called with a new name in Agile, it's called stories. So you need to document stories. You need to tell how much effort it is going to take. You need to tell how many stories are there in the first sprint. All these things are documented in Jira. So you can get a Jira system. I think open source Jira is available, I think. So you can have the Jira and ask everyone to contribute to the Jira. Is it clear what I'm trying to say? This is what we do. We don't do anything. We have review every day. We have a Scrum meeting daily Scrum every day. We have a retrospective at the end of 2 weeks. And by the slowly we course correct, get better visibility, and finally we achieve the project. This is how we do. And evaluation is simple. We have a goal at the start of the sprint, a very clear objective goal. At the end of the sprint, we compare our objective goal with the original goal and see how much we have achieved. If it is achieved, good. If not, we do a course correction and achieve in the next sprint. Is it clear what I'm saying? This is a simple analogy I can try to give, for what we are doing in our company. Every project in our company is following Agile Scrum. Simple. You don't need to know anything else. If people can understand Agile and Scrum, they can work in any company. You don't need to know CMMI. You don't need to do all those stuff. Very few companies, follow CMMI standard and all nowadays. Nowadays, everyone has gone to Agile. And I would recommend, some of the professors can take, Agile certification. It gives a lot of, benefit for you. Okay, so please go for Agile certification. And you can find, Scrum. I'm sorry. I think we can close, ma'am. I think it's time. So I will just, tell about this and then I will close. Yeah. So Agile certified practitioner is there. You have Agile product management. You have Agile Scrum Master. So you can check, the different types of certification. Please do not go for PMI. It is more, money oriented. And of course, it's globally recognized, but you don't need to go. There are many other, ACP certifications out there which are available. And many are also doing PMI ACP. So if we can do, these type of certification, it gives a lot of idea. And each of your department can manage all your tasks through Agile. Agile can be used in manufacturing. Agile can be used in construction. Agile can be used in software development. It can be used anywhere. So it very easily applies to you. If you can apply for your day-to-day operations, the knowledge that you gain from that can help you to guide individuals or members for software development. Because understanding this is more easier and you can accordingly tailor it for others. So I would suggest, to practice Agile in different departments and, based on the learnings, deploy in other departments and finally to members in the software industry, software development. So I think this is what I could do with the time that I was given to me, man. So I think we can close. Yeah. I hope it was useful. Some things were new for you. Some takeaway could be there, I hope. So I think we can close.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, it was very, very wonderful session. These 2 hours, you engaged with us some many practical, how to use the conventions and other things with a lot of examples. And we appreciate the effort taken by you, for this 2-hour session. And it was really useful. And you have given us the tips like Agile certification and then Carnegie Mellon's universities coding conventions. So this will be helpful as you suggested. We may sit together and form our own coding conventions, which can be practiced with our students. So
my suggestion is not only the faculty. I think you can involve the students too to brainstorm and come through the best coding standard that they can have. So they can also involve in forming a standard. That will be a good exercise for the students. Then as teachers, you can review, you can brainstorm together with different faculties, and you can finally freeze out a particular standard, which will be a good exercise overall. And in that process, only members will learn. So that will be good. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for throwing many insights to us, so that we will also think how we can enhance this in our all the laboratories and all the wherever coding comes, we will try to incorporate all these things. Thank you. Any feedback from any faculty? Anybody want Sure.
Any questions? I'm open. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can ask. If I possible, I will answer. Yeah. Anything else you felt, that I can change in this, which could have made it more better? I mean, within the time given, this is what I think I could do. But if you can give some feedback, maybe I can change something in the future.
Sir, if possible in future, we will have you in person in our campus so that it will be like more.
Yeah, I will try, definitely. Anyway, I keep going to Pondicherry and come. My native is Pondicherry, so I think I can come. If you can give me an advance date, then it's possible for me to plan.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Any questions from the participants?
The link which you have given, the YouTube link, when I click, it is not working.
Which one, sir?
The YouTube link in the chat.
Oh, okay. I will do one thing. I will share you all the links.
Let me try. I think, yeah, it is working. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I had a network issue.
What I will do is I will share you whatever links I have shown, and you can refer from that. But the PPT that I have, I may not be able to share because it is inside my cloud Office PC, so I can't share that one. But rest of the things, I will share. Yeah. So I think the PPT is just a point of understanding the fundamental concept. I think you have the recording, so you may have those images for you.
This is me. My name is Hamid Chojai, and I've been involved with a number.
I think the audio is disconnected.
I can hear you.
I'm not able to hear. Yeah.
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I can hear, but someone was speaking now. I couldn't. I don't know who spoke, but I couldn't hear you.
That was a wonderful session.
Srikanth, sir, yes.
That was a wonderful session.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And yes, sir, one thing I just want to add, sir. And it's very good and very informative, sir. And all the contents actually record, we can motivate the students to do, think about the product, and they can integrate all the feasible technologies to make a good product for the society.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Really,
So,
yeah.
The main problem we have with the students is we just give them the concept directly. They have no idea the value that it can generate. Always we should focus from the top down. We should show them the big picture. What is the value it can generate? Then people get motivated to know and understand better, and they can understand why this is all working. So that is a gap we have generally. We don't have the high level view, the top level view of the value. So once that is there, I think rest becomes more easy for the students, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think if no questions, then I think we can close out. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.